UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping, good enough to join us. Thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You are highlighting and headlining this card, fighting George St-Pierre. We're going to start and do a little game with you we call Strike for Strike.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions that are going to get tougher as this interview goes on.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, we're going to start with the jab.
Please.
There's a video of you that's gone viral. It's you attempting the Valentina Shevchenko dance.
Shevchenko dance.
Okay, let's watch it, and you can tell us, how long did that take to work out, champ?
That took me about 3 seconds. They showed me the video, and I attempted to do it. I worked the pre- and post-fight show for Fox. And, yeah, this is me with a little too much time on my hands, unfortunately.
Okay, we saw the footwork, though. That was good. Let's move up to the straight right hand. So we're getting a little bit harder here.
Okay.
217, you're going to take on George St-Pierre.
Yes.
It's going to be his first fight.
Yes.
Since 2013. How much do you think ring rust is going to play into this fight?
Well, I think it's going to be a bigger factor than what he thinks. You know, he's coming back to the octagon. George was a great fighter. He was a legendary fighter, and he still is. But he took some time away, and he took that time away for a reason. You know, and his last fight didn't go too well. He won the fight, but he took a bit of a hiding. And he decided this sport wasn't for me anymore. So he's gone away, he's sat on the sidelines, and he's forgotten what it feels like to get punched in the face. And then when he's there, all fighters, when we're in the locker room before we go out, we get incredible nerves. Of course we do. Anxiety, you name it, all these different emotions running through our body. And he's going to have to deal with that. And, you know, for me, I've been very active. Nobody in the history of the UFC has had more fights than me. It's just another day at the office. George is going to struggle. He's fallen into the trap that many people fall into. They look at me on TV and they think, he's an easy fight. So he didn't want to face Anderson Silva. When Anderson Silva was the middleweight champ, he didn't want to face him. I fought Anderson Silva. I beat Anderson Silva. But yet, he looks at me and thinks he can beat me. I mean, of course...
What is it about you that makes people think you're easy to beat? I
have no idea, but my record speaks otherwise. And this thing right here as well, this championship belt, obviously speaks otherwise as well. But God bless him, you know, God bless him, good for him.
Okay, let's move on to the body shot. Yeah, we're getting more intense here.
Okay.
Let's talk about Jon Jones. How has he tarnished his legacy beyond repair?
I think it's fair to say that he definitely has tarnished his legacy. I think he will always be remembered for the stunning performances that he put on. I mean, when he first broke into the UFC, he was incredible, absolutely unstoppable. Yes, outside of the octagon, made some very, very bad decisions. And unfortunately, this is one that isn't going to go away for a long time. I think he's looking at a 4-year suspension. And it's fair to say there's no smoke without fire. You know, this isn't his first time. So I guess we've got to see how this thing unfolds, but it's not looking good.
You mentioned 4-year suspension. Should he be banned from the sport permanently?
I believe so. I believe so. If you have a history of taking performance-enhancing drugs, I think there's no place for it. This is a vicious sport. It's not for everybody. We're not trying to put a ball into a basket. We're trying to, you know, you can dress it up however you want, but we're trying to beat our opponents either into submission or knock them out. Performance-enhancing drugs have no place in this sport.
You still think you're fighting against guys who aren't clean?
Yes. And it's true. You saw the United States Anti-Doping Association. They are randomly testing fighters, and they're catching a lot of people. So people are still doing it. People are mentally weak. That's why they do it. They look for shortcuts. Old Georgie boy just had a 4-year layoff. I don't know what he was doing in those 4 years, but he looks a bit bigger these days.
Are you intimating that you think that George St-Pierre is on drugs?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you really think that, or is that just fight talk?
There's a little bit of fight talk, but there's always been a bit of mystery around that. There's always been suspicions about George using, you know,
fighters talk about
drugs.
that?
You know, people like to throw it out there. I read things online, but you can't believe everything you read online. Of course. Oh, no, listen, no, George is clean. I'm having a bit of fun.
Okay.
He's a great fighter. It's going to be a great fight. He thinks he's going to come back. He's going to make history. Ain't going to happen, unfortunately.
With that in mind, let's go to the uppercut, because I feel like after this McGregor-Mayweather fight now, Conor's almost set new goals for fighters in mixed martial arts to try to get these massive paydays. And I'm curious, because you said you might have 1, 2, 3 more fights left in your career. I mean, what did this fight do for the sport 2, 5 years from now? Are people just going to say, forget the belt, forget the division title, I'm just looking for the most outrageous fight I can get to have the biggest payday I can?
Well, at the end of the day, that's what we all do it for. It's called prize fighting, and the prize is the money. That's why we risk our health. That's why we do this, you know, and of course it's entertainment, but we do it for money. You know, some people can go out there and say, oh, I do this to challenge myself and all this. Get a grip. No, they don't. We all do it for the money. And if you're not doing it for the money, then you're a fool. So you want to be involved in the biggest possible fights you can be. And that, of course, McGregor Mayweather was astronomical. It was huge. And well done to both of them involved. They both earned incredible amounts of money. I think that does push the envelope for mixed martial arts. I think Conor did a great job there. He represented himself and the UFC and mixed martial art fighters very well. You know, he got stopped in the 9th round, but still, he did well at the start. And of course, boxers, high-level boxers, not all boxers, but the biggest boxers get paid more than the biggest MMA guys. But we're closing the gap.
Let's go to the knockout here. And this one is something we'd like you to just clear the air. Recently, you responded to comments that Tyron Woodley had said that he thought that fighters may be subjected to racism from fans.
Yes.
You countered, you said, this is your quote, "It's seen as almost a sin to be a white man these days." What do you mean by that? Clear that up.
Well, geez, I love the way that you just picked that one bit. If you read the whole paragraph.
I did.
Yeah, and it was just a joke, you know, but he's out there pleading racism, and I'm like, I don't see it. And of course, I'm saying, I can't put myself in his position. I'm not a black man, so I can't begin to imagine what that feels like. But I haven't seen evidence of racism. I think it's quite the opposite. I think the UFC have done a great job of pushing all their athletes, you know, including guys like Daniel Cormier, Jon Jones, Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva. These are all black males, you know, so I haven't seen evidence of that, so I was just disagreeing.
Have you talked to Tyron at all?
Of course, I worked with him on Saturday on Fox Sports. Yeah.
What does he think of all this?
No, listen, it's called banter. We're all good here.
Michael Bisping, you've survived the strike for strike. No one's knocking this guy out.
Yeah, we'll see.